In the halls of Asgard, upon the high throne of Hlidskjalf, sits a king. Not a king of celebration and feast, but a king shrouded in shadow, his single eye gazing into the tapestries of fate, woven with threads of fire and frost. This is Odin, the All-Father, the Wanderer, the god of war and wisdom. But the wisdom he holds is no gift. It is a curse, a heavy cloak he wears through the long twilight of the gods. His story is not one of triumphant power, but of relentless, desperate sacrifice, a grim pilgrimage toward an end he has already foreseen. To understand Odin is to understand that true knowledge is not a crown of glory but a burden of sorrow. Long before the first horn of battle echoed across Midgard, Odin was driven by a thirst unquenchable by any mortal spring. He sought knowledge, not for power's sake, but to untangle the knotted cords of destiny. He journeyed to the roots of the world tree, Yggdrasil, where the well of Mimir lay, its waters churning with the secrets of all that was, is, and will be. The guardian of the well, the giant Mimir, whose name means memory, knew the price of such a drink. He asked for a sacrifice worthy of the cosmos itself. Odin, without hesitation, offered his own eye. He plucked it from its socket and let it sink into the depths, a permanent tribute to the well. In return, he drank. He saw visions of creation and destruction, of gods and giants clashing in a final cataclysmic war. He saw his own end. The wisdom he gained cast a long shadow over his reign, for he now knew the path he walked led only to oblivion. But one sacrifice was not enough to satisfy his burning need to understand. The runes, the mystical symbols that held power over reality itself, remained hidden from him. To claim them, Odin had to undergo an ordeal that would break any lesser being. He approached the great ash tree, Yggdrasil, the axis of the 9 worlds. With his own spear, Gungnir, he wounded himself, a sacrifice of a god to himself. He then hanged himself from a high branch, suspended between the heavens and the earth, for 9 days and 9 nights. No food passed his lips, no water cooled his throat. He was alone, battered by winds, teetering on the edge of death's abyss. On the 9th night, as his life force dwindled to a flicker, his vision blurred. In the swirling mists of his agony, he saw them. The runes revealed themselves to him, screaming their secrets as he seized them from the void. He fell from the tree, reborn not as a victor, but as a master of mysteries, his soul forever marked by the torment he had endured. He now held the keys to magic and fate, but each key was a fresh reminder of the futility of his struggle. Armed with the wisdom of the well and the power of the runes, Odin became a wanderer. He shed his godly regalia, donning the simple cloak and broad-brimmed hat of a traveler. He walked the dusty roads of Midgard and the misty paths of Jotunheim, always seeking, always questioning. He was known by many names: Grimnir, the Masked One, Harbard, the Greybeard, a solitary figure against vast, indifferent landscapes. He tested the wisdom of kings and giants, engaged in contests of riddles, and gathered knowledge from every corner of the 9 worlds. He sought not to change his fate, but to understand every facet of it. He learned of the great wolf Fenrir, his prophesied killer, and of the fire giant Surtur, who would burn the world to ash. Every piece of information was another stone upon his heart, yet he could not stop. This relentless quest was not a search for an escape route, but a solemn duty to witness the grand, terrible beauty of the inevitable. His travels were a long, lonely vigil for a doom he alone could fully comprehend. The years turned to centuries, and the air grew heavy with the stench of prophecy. The sun and moon were devoured by wolves. The great winter Fimbulvetter gripped the worlds in its icy fist, and the bonds holding Loki and his monstrous children began to fray. The signs were unmistakable. Ragnarök, the twilight of the gods, was at hand. The horn Gjallarhorn sounded its mournful cry across Asgard, calling the gods to their final battle on the fields of Vigrid. Odin, the All-Father, stood before his Einherjar, the host of chosen warriors from Valhalla. There was no fire of false hope in his eye, no rousing speech of guaranteed victory. There was only a quiet, resolute calm, He had seen this moment countless times in the waters of Mimir's well. He knew every step of this final dance. As the armies of chaos surged forward, a shadow fell over the battlefield. Fenrir, the great wolf, now unbound, lunged with jaws that stretched from the earth to the sky. Odin charged to meet him. Astride his 8-legged steed Sleipnir, his spear Gungnir held high. This was not a charge of defiance, but of acceptance. It was the final act in a tragedy he had long ago written in his own heart. He fought with the fury of a cornered king, but the outcome was never in doubt. The wolf's jaws closed, and the Lord of Asgard, the seeker of knowledge, was consumed. In his final moment, there was no surprise, no regret, only the profound, crushing peace of a prophecy fulfilled. Odin's ultimate wisdom was not in how to win the war, but in how to face the end with open eyes. His greatest sacrifice was not his eye or his body, but his hope. And in embracing his doom, he became the ultimate embodiment of fate, a god burdened, broken, and finally at peace in the heart of the storm. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the heart of Norse mythology. If you're fascinated by the epic tales of gods and heroes, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories from the ancient world. See you next time.